Hey, welcome back to BuiltFixed. This is a real quick how do I deal with cupping. If you resaw enough lumber, this is going to happen to you eventually. This piece here is a piece of ash that was resawn from a larger piece, and it's been sawn down to about 19 or 20 millimeters thick, depending on which piece you grab from the pile. And the cupping is very pronounced. If you look here, you can see that it's really moved quite a bit. Now I have to be careful. If I simply push this through my jointer to flatten one face, there's a good chance that I might end up too much one way or the other way and end up with one thick side and one thin side and not have enough material to achieve my 12 millimeters overall goal. So what do? My method is real simple. I'll show you. Alright, so here's how I deal with this cupped piece of wood and limited thickness to plane off or joint off. I'll first take my straight edge and determine whereabouts in the width of this piece of wood is the cupping the worst. In my case here, it appears just from the naked eye that it's very close to being centered up. Next, I'll draw a straight line across the piece of wood with my straight edge, and that line represents where my jointer will be jointing up to. So to prove that this line is in a smart spot, I will go through and then measure along this line here and verify that I have enough material between the line and the top up here for my project. So I have to have more material than 12 millimeters to be able to actually achieve the project that I'm after. You should also take into consideration, is your board straight along this axis here? And if it's not, then you might need to allow even more material to achieve your desired thickness. So let's go through here. If I measure, I'm seeing about 15, about 14, and about 14. So I'm pretty close. What this says to me is I probably could have lowered the line down here by about 1/2 millimeter and raised it up on this side an equal amount. Let's make that change. Okay, with my jointer turned off and unplugged for safety, I will place the piece of wood down onto the bed here and simply measure up to my line that I've scribed. I have the crown part of the wood facing down. And now, normally I would probably plane the other way with the crown up, but since I'm trying to save as much wood as possible, this is the method I'm using today. So measure to the line and see what kind of reading I get. If I get the same number all the way across, then I know my line is parallel to the jointer bed, which means that I should, in theory, have enough material to do this project. So as it stands now, this side here is about 1.5 millimeters too low. So I have a small thin shim out of the same type of wood, or any type of wood that's very thin, and I'll just slide it under my piece of wood near the beginning to where I'm starting, but not too close to the cutter head. Alright, with the shim now under the board and sitting there, I will go back through and measure again. I get 3 millimeters and hey, 3 millimeters, great. Okay, I'm now ready to joint this face. I'll make a light pass through and then recheck again to see that my line is still parallel to the surface here, and if it is, then I'll continue planing until I reach my line. Okay, so I've now made one pass on the jointer. It's time to check one more time to make sure that I'm still planing parallel to that line. And if I am, I'll continue planing until I reach the line, and then I'll stop. Alright, I'm in luck. My line is parallel to the jointer bed, so I can continue to plane through until I reach that line. Alright, now's a good time to go through and just verify that I've actually planed the full width of the board. And it looks good. So I've gone through now and just checked my numbers here. I can see that in theory I should have enough wood here to now plane this surface and end up with 12 millimeters. Assuming that I don't have too much of a bow in my piece of wood on the unplaned side here. Well, alright, success. I now have 4 pieces that are ready for my next cabinet project build, and they're all 12 millimeters, which is just what I need. But I think this is a great method. If you have a piece of wood that's either wide or really cupped, and you don't have much wood that you can sacrifice and plane away on, try this line method, and hopefully you can preserve enough wood so you can get your project done. Well, with that, stay safe, have fun on your own project, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye now.